In the wake of what I'm now calling the loot box arse disaster of 2017, a lot of official people in official places are starting to take notice. We've had American politicians, European countries and various other public bodies chiming in and even flat out writing new laws to regulate loot boxes. And now, one pretty big change is already happening in the US.
What is an arse disaster, Mike? I had to ask.
It's what happens when EA puts that kind of thing, kind of loot box in it. I don't know what it is.
An arse, I mean, because in my mind, an arse disaster is something that happens disastrously to your arse. I mean, you know.
Right. And that's what the games industry was having, an arse disaster.
Right.
That's what the loot box was. That's what the loot boxes were. That's the only thing I could think of to describe what happened in 4 words at the tail end of 2017. It was the loot box arse disaster. That's what we're calling it. That's what the academics will be calling it.
Yeah.
In about 40, 50 years, they'll be looking back on this period in history as the loot box arse disaster times.
Okay. Because I've had a few arse disasters in my time. The American Entertainment Software Ratings Board, or ESRB, has announced plans to place warnings on video games that include in-game purchases. The ESRB released a statement on Twitter this week admitting they've been a little quiet on the topic of in-game purchases and loot boxes, but they have been listening. Over the last few months, the ESRB has been one of the bodies called on by the public to take action on loot boxes. Many gamers have been voicing their frustration since games like Destiny 2, Shadow of War, Need for Speed, the 2K sports games, and of course, EA's Star Wars Battlefront 2 crossed the line for many gamers in late 2017 thanks to their loot boxes and microtransactions. The ESRB says they've, quote, absorbed every tweet, email, Facebook post and singing telegram sent our way. Make light of it with the singing telegram quip and we start to believe you. Obviously that's their thinking there. We don't believe you. I think that's the point I'm trying to make here. The quote goes on, "We've been working to develop a sensible approach to let gamers and parents know when a game offers the option to purchase additional content."
And here's what they've come up with. Starting soon, the ESRB says they will assign a new label to physical games if they include in-game purchases. The label will appear on boxes for all games that offer the ability to purchase digital goods or premiums with real-world currency. That includes, quote, bonus levels, skins, surprise items such as item packs, loot boxes and mystery rewards, music, virtual coins and other forms of in-game currency, subscriptions, season passes, upgrades and more. The ESRB will also be launching a new website, parenttools.org, to help raise awareness of the tools that parents can use to manage the amount of time or money kids can spend playing games. Quote, "This is the first step of many. We'll continue to discuss how to further enhance our rating system with publishers, developers, gamers and especially parents, and we'll continue to make adjustments as the need arises." First thing I think we should point out is the fact that whatever this new rating thing is, it's not just about loot boxes. It covers everything. It covers absolutely anything you could buy in a game. And then some people are already saying that it's kind of useless in that case because it's not really... Every game will allow you to spend money in it after the fact. These days you can get DLC, map packs, whatever. You can do it in almost any game now. So this doesn't help set apart the ones like Star Wars Battlefront 2 or something where there's serious loot box things going on there, a serious microtransaction economy in there that, you know, that's what people have been complaining about. This label doesn't really help that. Now they've said that this is the first step of many, so they might look at that in the future. They are just, I mean, all they really do is put labels on boxes. They're not all powerful, they can't do everything, but this is what they can do, and it feels like this is what they can do now. This feels like a quick solution that they've come up with, and they'll probably be looking at more stuff down the line.
When this whole loot box thing got kicked up, it was November or something, September, October, November. People were looking to the ESRB, right? And basically they were like, well, our hands are tied. We can't classify this as gambling. All we do is put things on boxes. You know, they're the ones who stick the 18 rating on a game if it's too mature for certain audiences. So they've got to be part of the solution. They've got to be part of the conversation at the very least. For them to take 2 months to even address it with their hands over their ears and say...
Oh, no, they were listening. They were listening to this.
They were listening to the telegrams. I mean, how stupid of me.
Yeah.
You know, fair play to them. They've been listening to the bloody singing telegrams. But what have they done about it? It's easy for people to criticise this as not going far enough, okay? Not putting enough effort in at the very least. But they do say it's this first step in many. The fact, it's easy to criticise again, the fact that this encompasses all of the possible transactions, additional purchase that you might make after purchasing a game, it doesn't distinguish loot boxes as a problem in itself. Throwing them in the same basket as all the other types of transactions that you can make after purchasing the game, which is wrong. This is not the problem. This is not what people are worried about. They're worried about loot boxes specifically because of the way that they target people and their kind of compulsions to try and get money off them. They've not done it soon enough. They've not acted soon enough. They've not done enough, really, to say that we're going to fix it in future. I mean, you've had 3 months. I mean, is this the best you can come up with? Listen to singing telegrams? I don't know, I'm disappointed. I think they should have done more.
On the loot box thing, real quick before we move on to something else we've got to talk about today. This is what they've said to kind of explain it. They were doing, to go along with this announcement, they did like an interview or roundtable chat thing with a bunch of journalists online, and then they told them, apparently, that the reason they've done this is because parents don't know what loot boxes are. They just don't want their kids to be spending any money flat out after they've bought the game. So that's why they opted for this kind of broad kind of, any opportunity to spend money warning rather than this game has loot boxes in it. I guess maybe they've got the point, but who knows, they might move on in future and get more specific in future or something and kind of highlight specifically what spending options there are in games and stuff. They're the label guys, they can put whatever label they want on the boxes, I guess, so let's see how it pans out.
Let's just send some singing telegrams, maybe they'll listen.
Yeah, we'll send some more of those, yeah.
This is just the latest in a sequence of moves to legislate, regulate, or otherwise take action against loot boxes. And it seems some in the games industry are getting nervous. It's just emerged that at this year's Game Developers Conference 2018 on March the 21st, devs have organised a roundtable discussion titled Censorship Strikes Back. The talk will focus on the, quote, burgeoning legislation around the world against loot boxes. It will be hosted by Daniel Greenberg, who's part of the International Game Developers Association Anti-Censorship and Social Issues Committee. Greenberg hopes developers will come together to discuss how to protect their rights from what they're calling game censorship in several topics, including legislation around loot boxes and other issues like the World Health Organization's recent classification of gaming disorder. This is stupid, right? It's stupid. How can they classify people trying to regulate loot boxes and protect themselves or protect their kids, or whoever can be exploited by loot boxes, as censorship? This is bullshit. It's like, cigarettes harm people, right? And they sell them. So putting them behind a locked cabinet so people can't see them, that's not censorship. That's just protecting the people. So essentially, how can they call it censorship, Mike?
It's just the wrong word, isn't it? They've bundled it in. They've bundled loot boxes in, which is a business practice. They've bundled that in with other artistic concerns about, freedom of speech and stuff. That's what censorship would be. Censorship is not the right word here, I don't think, at all. And then they've just bundled that in with all these other issues that, of course games developers are going to talk about the fact that WHO has classified something called gaming disorder. That is going to be a concern. The loot boxes thing, I just find a little bit weird because, it's like they're defending it as an artistic choice in that case. Like they're saying, we just really want to put loot boxes in our games and this government's not letting us do it anymore. We really love a good loot box. It's a weird angle to take. I think it's like a PR angle.
It's a trigger word is what it is. Censorship is a trigger word. And if people are like, what, you're being censored?
Yes.
Let's have a look at this. Bullshit. What we're trying to do is protect people from your f***ing exploitative tactics. It's not censorship. F*** off.
That's the end of the video.
I'm coming to a crescendo, Mike. It's always happening.
So what do you think of what the ESRB has said they're going to do here? Is this enough? Is this kind of what you were hoping to see? And also tell us what you think about the GDC seminar about game censorship on loot boxes down in the comments below. Remember to like the video if you enjoyed it. Please do subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this every day. Check out that video right there, right now if you want, and the link to Patreon if you want to support the channel. See you next time.